Hello, everyone. My apologies if I've delayed or disabled the chat. The reason why I've done that is because I did this earlier and bullies came on here and pretty much ruined the entire live stream. And so I decided to delete the live stream and to basically talk about my honest feelings about the Tsuranga Conundrum, but without these idiots talking their rubbish in the live chat. Which in the last live chat that I deleted the live stream because I couldn't focus with their constant bullying on the chat. And bullying is something that I've had to deal with all my life. And when you have somebody saying that your channel is not the best, it's not what they expected. For me, unfortunately, I can't do what I wanted to do for this live stream. I wanted to review the Tsuranga Conundrum today for all of you. I didn't really want to come onto this live stream and to say that these idiots are idiots. I just want to just do this with no live chat, no distractions, no nothing. Just me talking to the camera and talking about my honest feelings about the Tsuranga Conundrum, episode 5 of Doctor Who Series 11, without any distractions. So I've disabled the live chat, not only for those idiots, but for everyone, unfortunately. So here's what I want you to do. If you're watching this live, or if you're watching this at some point after the live stream has ended, please comment down below your thoughts and opinions of this entire episode, as I'm going to be going down into every single bit of detail that I found in this episode. And I'm going to retry this live stream again from the last one. The last one was just a bit atrocious. Let me just move this camera, okay? I just really want to give this live stream a second go because I don't think I did a really good job in the first one. As of course, I got distracted from the bullies that were completely tormenting me and completely ruining the entire live stream. And so I've deleted or disabled the live chats so they won't be able to comment their chats or their rubbish of my channel, of how it's so rubbish, how they dare say that Doctor Who, my favorite show that I talk about, is not important. So I don't want to talk about too much about these bullies because they're not important. They're not important to this live stream. They just wanted to corrupt this live stream, to get involved, to invade what I wanted to review Doctor Who. They wanted me to talk about football. Unfortunately, I got my emotions caught up in the swing of things and I just lost it. I lost it with them. So here it is, guys. My entire live stream on Doctor Who Series 11, Episode 5, halfway through Doctor Who Series 11, on the Tsuranga Conundrum. So please make sure you comment down below your opinions of this entire live stream and what you thought about this episode. What did you enjoy about it? What were your overall thoughts? Did you think that this episode was going to be fantastic? Did you think that this episode was going to be a very awesome Based on the Siege episode? Which I have to say that I'm just going to get myself comfortable. I'm going to get straight on to this live stream. Sip my drink. I'm going to try this time to be calm because the last one I pretty much rushed, got distracted, and pretty much lost all control of this live stream. This time around, it's going to be a lot more calmer. So, my honest initial thoughts to this episode was I was really struggling to see how this episode was going to play out. Now, I had my honest opinions before this episode was aired that I felt that the Doctor and the TARDIS team were going to land on a spaceship, get involved with some medical team, and get involved with maybe an accident or something like that. and they find something on the spaceship and they're planning to get rid of it before it destroys the ship and themselves. That's what I initially thought. Hmm. Now, I'm going to admit that this entire episode was a bit controversial for some people. I had a look on Twitter and I had a look on Facebook earlier today, and I saw a lot of the responses for what people thought about the episode. Many people enjoyed it, some people loved it, some people thought it was okay, and then some of it thought it was absolutely garbage. Now, I have got to say that I have some negativity towards this episode, and then I've got some others points in this episode that are really, really positive. And so we're gonna get straight on to what were the positives about this episode. Now, one of the things that I felt was a real good opportunity to make this assuring that the Doctor and Graham were discussing about another adventure which we haven't seen before, but I felt it was a fun little quirky little reference that kind of references the future for Big Finish involving Jodie Whittaker. That could be an adventure that they could go on and see distant planets and explore another adventure with Jodie Whittaker. And I think that's what Big Finish could probably do, explore that as like a Big Finish audio. I think that could be a really good idea for them. And also, I felt that the beginning scene in the junkyard was so futuristic, and I liked how the Doctor got the TARDIS team to do something productive, to look into the junkyard and try and find little bits of junk, little bits of treasure that they could take back, and it's like finding a new discovery. But what they actually discover is a sonic mine, almost like a sonic bomb, and it was about to explode. And when it did, the Doctor and the TARDIS team woke up on a hospital ship. The hospital ship was called the Tsuranga. It was also known as a quad zone rescue craft that helps injured people to get themselves back up to full strength, to give themselves more health and more recovery time. So it's basically a hospital in space. And I saw the Doctor was trying to move around when she was still damaged and still injured from the blast. And it felt like that she took more of a blast than everybody else. I know Graham, Ryan, and Yaz, they were perfectly fine in the episode, but the Doctor just wasn't. And it's like maybe they've been having special treatment and the Doctor hasn't yet had her treatment or something like that. But what all I know is that Jodie Whittaker, we're going to talk about her first because I felt that she had another outstanding performance. I thought that her performance in the first, say, 5 minutes or so were great. I felt that she was looking in the corridors, searching for an exit sign, and I was wondering, how is she going to deal with knowing that this place is a ship and there's no exit signs whatsoever? I mean, we don't really know until it's her when she hears the vibrations underneath all of the flooring. But then we have some of the medical crew coming into the spaceship and attending to Jodie Whittaker, telling her that she needs to calm down and she needs to recuperate herself and she needs to relax. And from all of this, she gets very, very stressed. And I don't think we've seen this at all from Jodie Whittaker. It's like from the moments where she gets stressed, she needs to get out, she needs to find a TARDIS that was suddenly left on the junkyard on another planet. Again, the planet names are a bit unfamiliar for me, but what I do know is this, that I think that little scene of where Astos, I think his name is called, Astos went to some degree of urgency, knowingly that Jodie Whittaker would do anything to turn this entire ship around, to go back to the junkyard and find her TARDIS. But knowingly enough, while doing that, she could risk the lives of every single patient on the ship. And she's a doctor of medicines and most things, and it will go against her will And to be honest, it goes against her character for being very hostile and being very, very selfish for doing all of this so that she can have her TARDIS back, not knowing enough that it could risk the others in potential injury. Not Graham, Ryan, and Yaz, but for other patients that need serious treatments. And so, if Jodie Whittaker does plan on bringing the ship around for herself, for her own reasons, she's being slightly hostile, being selfish, and non caring, which is so out of character for the Doctor. It was a moment where Jodie Whittaker needed a moment to shine in order for her to really grab a real great sense of urgency, and it shows that Jodie Whittaker was being hostile, not knowingly enough that she was being hostile, but she was being hostile for the wrong reasons. And Asto was, in a way, trying to prevent Jodie Whittaker from sabotaging or hijacking the ship for her own purposes. And that's, for me, one of the best moments that we've seen that Jodie Whittaker, her character, her Doctor, has been leveled up to another gear, to another level. I mean, we've seen already Jodie Whittaker being fun, energetic, and real positive about every single episode. You see her in the Ghost Monuments. She's very, very excited. And also in The Woman Who Felt Worth, she has that serious element. And every single episode after that, she's been fun, she's been quirky, she's been energetic, enthusiastic. But this time around, we see her going to a spot where we could never ever see Jodie Whittaker. For her to be very, very angry, but also quite lose the plot in a way. And that, in a way, is another great moment for her, for us to really get across a great sense of knowing that she is the Doctor. Although she can go a bit haywire at some stages, that is a moment that can pretty much signify as a symbol that we can actually look at Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, but she's trying to get used to not getting to be very, very hostile. I know in a way in many times that the Doctor has been in out of character many times, just like the Doctor was in Hellbent. Hellbent, the Doctor was going to be pointing a gun at another Time Lord. And I felt so sorry for Peter Capaldi for doing this, because that was so out of character for the Doctor to shoot his own kind using a gun that he restricts not to use. So these out of character moments, for once, for Peter Capaldi's one, unfortunately, I didn't think that this moment, well, for that moment, that didn't really serve any purpose. But right now, for Jodie Whittaker, that moment did serve a really good purpose for her to really get herself to really realize the picture and see what she's doing wrong. And I find it fascinating how she recuperates herself and says, "I'm sorry, I am." She has a moment to think about what she's been going through and how she's needing her TARDIS. And it's like every episode, it's like, where's the TARDIS? We've hardly seen the TARDIS in this episode. What I would have liked if the episode landed on the junkyard, them coming out of the TARDIS, and the Doctor gave them metal detectors and then searched the junkyard. That would have been a much better introduction, personally. But I like them got themselves doing something at the junkyard, and I would love to see more of the junkyard. I thought it looked quite similar to the Doctor's wife in that episode, where the 11th Doctor and the TARDIS in the woman form were looking above this ship around this wreckage, and it looked very, very similar. But I would have loved to see more of the junkyard. It just looked a bit futuristic and a bit surreal in that way, that maybe a monster could have been brought aboard this spaceship from the junkyard. Maybe the people who saved the Doctor, Yaz, Graham, and Ryan, maybe brought something else on board as well. That would have been even better. And you know what? This entire episode looked so futuristic. It even looked so better than any Star Wars spaceship interior that I've ever seen. That could possibly be a bit controversial for some people, but I found it incredibly so futuristic that the quality, the look of it was sensational. Again, I'd say that the quality and the unique sense of the whole Doctor Who franchise now feels like an actual film, feels like a movie, and I love that. I love how you can watch Doctor Who knowingly enough that it's not a movie, it's just a normal TV show, but it has the quality of a movie, and it's amazing, absolutely amazing. And with the futuristic look and the quality, was just a match made in heaven. It looked so futuristic, and it felt the perfect base under siege episode, with all the delights cutting out, having some dark and creepy and sinister moments, and then we get the monster. And this monster must have been very, very good to really continue the build up for this intensive action and tempo and fast paced movement. And we got that. We got the Batink. And I don't know if Doctor Who were planning on making this entire episode a joke to Monsters Inc. Because right now I do feel that that monster right there, the Batink, was awful. Absolutely awful. There was no purpose for that little thing whatsoever. And honestly, it's like Monsters Inc. meets Doctor Who. And I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. I think this entire episode would have been a lot better if we had the Cybermen. This episode would be 10 times better with the Cybermen. This episode was perfect for them. Just had to add like a few minor adjustments to the entire episode. And this could have been, I don't know, probably the best modern Doctor Who episode involving the Cybermen. But we didn't get that. We just got a sort of cute monster. All right, people said it was cute. And of course, it was cute. But does the cuteness override its overall purpose? Its purpose was just to eat the material inside the ship. So basically, it ate pretty much all the material around the ship, knowingly enough that the Doctor, Ryan, Yaz, and Graham were going to lose air eventually. But knowingly enough that if it was going to eat the entire ship, it's got to have a bigger stomach than what I've got. Seriously. I mean, my stomach is already huge. I don't know how big that little thing's stomach is. It seems like it can eat metal for all it wants. And one of my favorite moments, I must say, that when the Doctor was going to buzz around her sonic screwdriver at the creature, it ate the Sonic, and then the Doctor lashed out this amazing line, "It just ate my Sonic!" And then the monster rejected out the sonic screwdriver just without the lights. And I felt like, just ate my Sonic? What can I do? It's like now the Sonic is absolutely useless. And I know that for the fact that every single person, well, maybe not every person, but they've said that this episode or in previous episodes, the Doctor has just been using her sonic screwdriver just way too much. But in this episode, you've got no excuse. It's like, for once, the Doctor doesn't use her sonic screwdriver because it doesn't have the sonic ability to do whatever it needs to do. All right, sometimes it does reboot itself later on in the episode, but other than that, it does go on to the point where it does land onto an episode where the Doctor hardly uses the sonic screwdriver at all. And I must say that the episode did itself well. I liked the creepy and the intense spookiness that this episode brought. The music was just amazing, absolutely sinister, spooky, creepy, atmospheric. Everything you wanted from a Base on the Siege episode. What you needed was the right music to match up with the right scenes with the right villain. That would have made possibly my favorite Base on the Siege episode ever. Honestly, that would have been amazing. But no, we've got Monsters Inc. But basically we got Doctor Who's recreation of a Monsters Inc. monster. We've got a pregnant man about to give birth to a boy, because obviously in his planet, boys give birth to boys, girls give birth to girls. In a way, I found it was quite fascinating, but quite stingy and quite cringy as well. I mean, the whole scenes of the guy getting giving birth to the baby with Graham and Ryan standing there like, yeah, sure, we'll be your doulas, and like it's like, for God's sake, it's like we didn't really need that guy being pregnant. It's like, fuck, why? Why do we need that guy to be pregnant? Because we obviously ran out of ideas thinking, oh, what could be interesting? We could actually have somebody pregnant that is a man. You never know. That could actually work. Did it work though? It's just, I felt it was funny before he got over the whole thing about giving birth, and then he became really annoying through all the shouting, and I thought it was just honestly so annoying. And I felt Ryan and Graham did their absolute best trying to keep the man quieting down. I mean, Graham and Ryan, they were saying like, "Oh, we've seen, I've seen Call the Midwife all the time." It's like, "Well, you've been looking around on YouTube, mate." And then the nurse said, "Oh, we have to cut his stomach out." It's like, "Cut his stomach?" It's like, "Oh, I bet you haven't seen Now Call the Midwife." It's like, no. I mean, I'm never ever gonna get pregnant. It's like the whole thing about them with the baby just felt really cringy for me. I just look, I don't do well with it at all. Unfortunately, I just don't do well with, like, little squeamish things. I'm not a big fan of all of it, and just I think that was just one of the moments that I just didn't find anything fascinating. Didn't find it exciting. Didn't find it new and pretty much good in a way. I just found it was just a way just to drive us away from the action. And I think that the one thing that I do criticize of this episode, that this episode was very, very slow in getting the pace up. This, I think this episode needed to be a lot faster with a lot more pace, a lot more action. Because for me, the action was just very, very limited to a few bits of the creature getting caught, getting kicked around the room, him eating the Bating eating the bomb and getting exploded. There were no corridor scenes. Wait, no, no corridor scenes. No, 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 no. You don't have corridor scenes. It's not a based on the Siege episode. You know what? The one episode that does remind me of based on the Siege episode with corridor scenes, it reminds me of Oxygen from last year. That was amazing. Series 9, Under the Lake and Before the Flood, with those underwater ghost creatures based on the Siege. Series 8, what did it have? Mummy on the Orient Express, based on the Siege. Series 7, based on the Siege episode. Trying to think. Dinosaurs on a Spaceship? I do actually like that episode, I must say. I really do like that episode in a way. Yeah. This episode just felt a bit dull. And especially dull in a way that some of the characters, like the side characters, the guest stars, I thought Atos was good. I thought he had a good performance. He had some great instincts. He had a great responsibility in taking charge and taking command. Held up Jodie Whittaker really well. I thought he was fantastic. I just felt that his death was just a bit wooden, a bit dull, and just a bit lackluster. I felt all the other side characters were really good. They had their motives, they had their reasons, they had their performances. I thought it was really good overall from those side characters. Some of them had a little bit more backstory with their medical records, their medical history, and some of them were engineers. One of them was an android who I actually felt a little bit of sorrow, and I felt a bit sorry for the android in a way because I kind of felt that he was a bit left out. Obviously, he's an android, but in a way, it's like I kind of felt remorsely sorrow for that one person, that one android. Just felt like a real good character that served a really good purpose, but didn't deserve to be left out of the whole team. Just kind of felt like he was just there in the corner. And I'm glad that he wasn't really forgotten about. I know Jodie Whittaker mentioned a few times that he was there, like, come on, keep up, you got to up your game. Jokes, jokes. And I like that because there's no reason to have a Doctor Who episode. If you're going to be involved in a Doctor Who episode, you have to get involved. And I was really thinking about this android, thinking he's going to be in the sidelines all the time and he's not going to get involved. But no, I was wrong. He did get involved, and I was very, very happy for him to do so. Like I said, all of the side characters, they were really good overall. And I liked the woman, Eve. I think she was controlling the ship on its way back to Reese's One. I also like Durkas. I think it was the engineer that was programming all this stuff for the return journey back to Reese's One. And we see a lot more of their character development with both of them as brother and sister. And it's like interesting. They've had a lot of history together, and how she doesn't look up to me, and she has the pilot's heart and this adrenaline surges and all that. So it's pretty much like the medical history are playing up again and catching up with her in a way, which kind of feels like it's a good way to pick up on the medical records and everything else. But other than that, I think I thought the side characters were actually pretty good in my opinion. I don't think any of them were pretty dull, apart from that Atos character, who felt that his death was unfortunately a bit wooden and a bit dull. But what I've got to say is that this episode has been a bit controversial for some people. Not many, but for some people, because people felt that this episode just really, really wasn't brilliant at all. It was just absolute garbage for some people. And in a way, you kind of get the feeling that you kind of agree with them. And I'm not trying to say I agree with all of them, but I'm trying to say that this episode has definitely been a step down from the other episodes that I've really liked so far in the series. Like episode 1, I gave a 9 out of 10. Episode 2, I gave a 9 out of 10. Episode 3, I gave out a 9 out of 10. And episode 4, I also gave out a 9 out of 10. But this one, unfortunately, I'm a bit stuck. I'm a bit puzzled on what to do. And I'm really struggling to see what this episode could be like in a way, because I'm just trying to figure out on something that is needing, and just like there was like no drive to the episode. That was it. There was like there was no adrenaline. That was the thing. Unfortunately, she was using all of those adrenaline blockers, and in a way, using those blockers kind of blocked us from getting that adrenaline, that excitement that we needed for this episode to really kick into gear, kick into overdrive. We just didn't get that, unfortunately. And anything else from this episode? Yes, I thought the companions, Yaz, Ryan, and Graham, they also had some really good moments. And somebody's opening the door. Somebody's actually trying to distract me. Not in the live chat, but obviously somebody's got back home. I'm going to ignore them. I'm going to carry on. I thought Ryan and Graham's little scenes together with Yaz as he was trying to give birth to his baby boy, I thought both of them had some really good moments in those scenes, because it was like a moment for both of them to get socially closer together. And I really liked their dynamic together. I thought, they had a really good performance from both of them. As well as I also thought that little history behind Ryan's mum and Ryan's dad was also quite fascinating as well. Shush. Get out of the room. Just wish. Come on, go out of the room. I'm doing my live stream. I'll be done in a minute. I'll be done in the next, like, say, 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes and I'll be done, okay? Look, I know you got back from school. It's fine. Just leave me be, okay? I'll be done soon. Promise you. Well, I knew I was going to get distracted, not by the live chat, but my little annoying brother and his friend. Well, what can I do? At least he's all right. I can get on with him. But when it comes to chats in the comments section, no, I can't really deal with that. Anyway, well, what I was talking about. Yes, that was it. Ryan sharing his past, especially about his dad and his mum, and how her mum died of heart attack, and how his dad kind of coped with his mum's death in a way. And it kind of gives us the feeling that Ryan's been through tough times, and in a way, so have all of us. And it's a real good way to really get these characters so well developed. And I felt it was such a really loving moment to really appreciate. And it was such a great moment to have that moment. And I know that Ryan and Yaz were talking to Yoss about his baby. It's like, I could never do that. And in a way, neither Ryan couldn't. And it's like all of these journeys through time and space, it's like messages talking to Ryan and Yaz that, these people are so different from us, and like it kind of resembles their past and their future in a way that Ryan wouldn't usually do that, but it reminds him of his mum and dad and how they haven't got on with each other as well. So it's like coping with that big responsibility and showing how Ryan has coped throughout all this time, knowing the struggle that he's been, coping without a dad who doesn't care about him, as well as his mum, who unfortunately just died. So you kind of get the feeling that Ryan is such of a strong character, as well as with Graham as well. And Yaz also has a lot of things to do with this episode. I thought that her relationship with the Doctor has really built up. Ever since episode 4, I've seen a lot more development with the Doctor and Yaz as two characters separately. And I feel like there's a great bond, there's a great relationship between both of them. And I love that. It's fantastic. Let's see what else I've got to say. Yeah. So in the end, the Bating eats the bomb, then gets jettisoned out of the pod, and then gets exploded in space. And that's pretty much the end of the Bating. But then again, that was not going to be the end of the episode. They had to make sure that they get the craft safe to Rhesus 1 in order for them to probably see the TARDIS again. And here's the thing. Are they ever going to see the TARDIS again? Is this entire episode just going to stay at the hospital from the next episode? Or are they going to get back into the TARDIS? I mean, where's the bloody TARDIS? I mean, after the episode, I was expecting the TARDIS probably to arrive somewhere or them to probably visit the TARDIS. But no. So that kind of gives me a little bit of a question. Where is the TARDIS gone? Has it been disappeared? Has somebody stolen the TARDIS? Who knows? I really don't know. But frankly enough, it kind of gives us another cliffhanger, knowing that the TARDIS has gone. But how do we end up to the next episode in 1947 with the Demons of Punjabi, exploring more character traits behind Yaz? And I'm really glad that we're getting another episode with Yaz involved, because I think for all the companions right now, Yaz has certainly been the weakest. And I've got to say that in a way, I'd hate to say that Yaz is the weakest, but in a frankly way, she is. But I've got to say that these episodes with these moments for these characters are amazing. I think Ryan and Graham, they're already pretty much my favorite companions. Yaz still needs a little bit of convincing, but I think this next episode, the Demons of Punjabi, could be a real strong episode for her, and to really build herself up and see a different side to her, and to see if Doctor Who can get into second gear. Because I think it certainly needs to get into second gear. And since it's a historical episode, it means that they'll be playing with time. And whether you mess with time, even if it's family related, you know how to restrict it. We've seen how Rosa Parks was a fantastic episode for some people. But then again, people were saying that the Demons of Punjabi is family related to Yaz, which knowing that Yaz would love to save her family, but knowingly enough, she needs to know how history works, how time works. And if she messes around with time, I could have a feeling that there could be serious consequences for next week's episode. So yes. Anything more to talk about? Ah, yes, of course. I love I love the situations between the little medical person, the nurse, and the doctor, and how this situation is a problem that needs solving. Imagine the solution and work it to reality. And it's like every creature wants something, needs something. And this little Bating creature, although it's as cute as it is, and how dull and how pathetic the monster is, it just wanted energy and wanted power. That's what it wanted. It didn't want to kill people. It didn't want anything else. It just wanted energy and power just by eating all of the material. That's basically what it is. I kind of feel like that's just so one-dimensional. You could explain more about this monster, about this character. Like the monsters, I think for me, this one character, unfortunately, only has one dimension. I think Tim Shaw has a few dimensions, as well as with Stenza, the regiments. Carrasco has a lot of dimensions with him, about time agents with a time vortex manipulator, and of course the spiders as well. I felt they were more than one-dimensional creatures in a way, but this creature just felt so dull and so one-dimensional. Like, just you couldn't explain or know anything more about it. It was just there, just being a nuisance, just being a pathetic creature eating the material. That's all you can. That's all you know, really, of this episode. And so, yes, I think that's all I need to say. And oh, yes, um, this one's quite personal, and I think it kind of gives us the feeling that Doctor Who likes to express themselves a lot and explain a lot of great things in detail. And this is one of them, of where the Doctor was explaining to Yaz about the antimatter drive engine. And I was pretty much hooked up to it straight away because I knew that when she was speaking about all of these, the knowledge about this antimatter drive and how it works, Jodie Whittaker felt so warm and so lightened up to this explanation that she knew what she was talking about and she was fascinated by it. Knowingly enough that she knew everything, she was so happy to know about this thing existed. And she looked so happy in just trying to explain it, which kind of shows that it reminds me of a science lesson. And I had so many science lessons in the past, and I really remember the good times, just like this episode. That little moment like that, that antimatter drive engine was just purely like a science lesson. And I really like that. But in some cases, over explaining can be your downfall. And sometimes in episodes, like, certain episodes, when you explain solely so much all the time, it gets a little bit repetitive and slightly gets boring and a little bit dull. But right now, I feel like that 5 episodes in, I want to talk more about Chris Chibnall. Now that we're up to the halfway mark of Doctor Who Series 11, with 5 episodes in, 5 more episodes remaining, I'd like to give my overall thoughts about Chris Chibnall because he's been the writer to write episode 1, 2, co-writing 3, 4, and 5. So he's pretty much written the first 5 episodes of the series, and the next 4 episodes after that will be all guest star writers to give themselves a chance to explore with Doctor Who Series 11. And I'm going to hopefully expect for something new. But in a way, I felt at the end of the episode, Chris Chibnall is a great showrunner, but also he does have his weaknesses, but also his strengths. Let me tell you about his strengths. His strengths are solely character-based. His character writing is just phenomenal. Any scene with Yaz, Ryan, or Graham, or the Doctor, or any side character you feel attracted to because they are so interesting to watch. The character development is brilliant from everyone, even from Chris Chibnall. The character development is just spot on from him, like he does with Broadchurch every single series. But the only thing I think that he has a lack of knowledge and a lack of drive for is unfortunately the sci-fi. Now, that's just within 5 episodes. I know we've only had 2 present day episodes, 2 futuristic episodes, and 1 past episode. I have a feeling that these next few stories are going to have a lot more freedom because it's not just going to be Chris Chibnall trying to restrict what they can do or what they can't do. But I know for the fact that maybe they'll have a lot more sci-fi elements rather than just, Chris Chibnall not having the slightest of greatest knowledge about sci-fi, but has a great knowledge about character development. So it's really getting that balance between sci-fi elements, other character-based elements, and the action. The action, I think, needs to be improved because I felt that the action in episode 4 and episode 5 and episode 3 and episode 2 and episode 1 were 10 times better than what the action was here in this episode. There were some action moments, but not a lot. I missed those corridor running moments. Like in every single chasing scene, you just miss those moments of companions running down the corridors from like a creature that's running after them on their tails. I missed that. And that's unfortunately the downside of this episode. And so, yes, overall, Chris Chibnall, I think he needs to up his game a bit. And I know he's going to be writing the final episode. So let's just hope that maybe throughout these next few writers, let's just hope they bring something new to the table, something fresh, something exciting. because now that I know for the fact that we'll be having, many more episodes with better, exciting, episodes, I hope. This episode, unfortunately, wasn't the best, wasn't the worst, and certainly just wasn't anything exciting. I found it was all right, very, very good, not exciting. It didn't have that high tempo, that fast pacing movement that I wanted from a Based on the Siege episode, because I love Based on the Siege episodes. They're my absolute favorite type of story in Doctor Who history. I love Based on the Siege episodes. But honestly enough, that I want Doctor Who to really up their game a bit, because I think they need to improve a lot. So, yes, that's what I've got to say for this review. And I know that this review has been 10 times better from the last one that I did today. Unfortunately, the last one that I did today, I had some idiots coming onto my channel and saying absolute terrible things about my channel and how I don't like about football and Doctor Who and how these different things just get in my way. And I had just these bullies just bullying me on the channel, and I don't cope well with bullies on the channel, but I know how to get around them and how to avoid them. So it's always something difficult to get myself around with. I know with these days, when you're trying to do your own channel, you're always going to get those people trying to get involved and trying to, mess up your channel. And I think today I've pretty much suffered that. And this is the reason why I've disabled the chats, so I don't get distracted at all from the people talking nonsense about me. So thanks for everyone for coming onto this live stream and really getting to know my entire opinions of this entire episode, the Tsuranga Conundrum, episode 5 of Doctor Who Series 11. My overall rating for this episode will be a 6 out of 10. Not the best, not the worst, but a very, very good episode. Not like from the other ones where we had 9 out of 10s for episode 1, 2, 3, and 4. But this episode was certainly a letdown for me, unfortunately, not succeeding my expectations of a Based on the Siege episode. But oh well, I hope for the next episode, and let's just hope that the next episode could be a lot better. But anyway, I'm going to get off. Thanks so much, guys, for watching for this live stream. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please smash this like button down below and make sure you comment down below your entire opinions of what you thought of this episode. Was this fantastic? Was this all right? Or was it kind of the weakest episode of the entire series so far? I mean, please, I'm interested to hear your comments down below. So please do that, and I'll love you forever. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching, and I'll see you guys next time in the next live stream. Until then, guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys next time for the Demons of Punjabi. See you there, guys, later. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry about it.
It's all right. I'm fine. You're finally here, and that's fine.
You're that YouTube channel, man.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Thomas, for distracting me. Not like what happened this morning.
What happened? So, how long was that video?
Only 40 minutes. That's all.
Which was just a talk.
It was a talk, but hang on. I did one this morning. It took me over an hour because I had people chatting that your Doctor Who content is rubbish, talk about football. I want to hear more about football rather than Doctor Who. They were bullying me, and they basically forced me not to do my video that I wanted to do about Doctor Who. That was the thing. And unfortunately, I couldn't really do my job, and I had to delete that live stream and redo it.
How do you make a YouTube channel? How much is it?
Make a YouTube channel. All you need to do is just basically
sign in
as like your own email address.
Like Josh Hinder has a YouTube channel in our school.
It could be pretty much any email. You could pretty much start
and
any
it's
YouTube
called
channel.
Riley the Crazy Cat.
Yeah. To be honest, does he get a lot of bullies for his channel for doing what he does?
No.
It's quite good, exactly, because you're obviously going to get loads of people who are interested in some things.
No, I really want me and Thomas to YouTube channel.
Yeah. To be honest, when you have a lot more spare time, which I would imagine in maybe year 8, year 9, which is I think is the best time for you to actually spend more time together, work on a YouTube channel, and me and my friends could probably guide you if you want to. You could do FIFA videos.
Joel has 343 subscribers. No, I was thinking of like what's it called again? Reacting to
try not to laugh. Reacting to a match or try not to laugh.
Try to drink water and go.
Yeah. You could do like different challenges. But the thing is, Joel's found it a bit difficult trying to like say doing recording stuff. You know, like some people have like their footage on a separate screen and you can watch it, but in a way, it's like you have to remember that where you're watching stuff, like say from live TV, you're trying to record it.
So is your
gonna
camera
get
literally
blocked.
there? So is your camera there, or is it just
Basically, if I was like say for example, if I was about to record like say a football match and post it onto YouTube without having any license to stream or having to show footage of football matches, I'd get blocked because it's copyrighted from BT
Of
Sports.
course.
BT Sports and Sky Sports will complain of why you're taking our content, why you're stealing it, or why you're making your own money from using our footage.
no?
No, like-
I'm just
like,
reacting
there
to it
could
like
be
this.
Yeah.
like just showing you reacting to it, not actually showing the footage.
Oh yeah, and some football men like what's it called? Spencer I've seen actually West Ham fans at the London West Ham matches at the London Stadium.
Yeah.
And he reacts to it in itself like,
Yeah,
we just been seeing a goal.
you can do. Yeah, you can do that.
That's
Because,
what
like,
I normally
Because
do.
I've seen the F2 do it, so
Oh,
like,
yeah,
they've
we've-
just had the camera just like
Yeah,
they've been on their couch and they're like
yeah.
and watching
You
it.
can
when
do
it's
that.
not Actually
It's-
shown.
It's
the-
it's easy enough to do
actual
that. That's
football.
fine. That's completely fine. In terms of people doing match day vlogs or football matches, I was planning on doing one.
I don't think you can actually like record the actual thing from.
You can't. You can't.
like,
Unfortunately,
record
it's
It's the special donut. place.
unfortunately football stadiums have the technology to look at different people recording their phones and if they're doing like little vlogs. But it's like if you see like a little bit of like the stadium, you could record a stadium, but you could probably like say if you record a little bit of the game, then Sky Sports can probably blame you for actually being there and actually stealing that live footage and block you for that. That's what they can do for you, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then like